Bedazzled look without all the work of bedazzling? Is that even a thing? Either way, these cutting boards have an elegant look with a pattern that shines back at you without breaking the bank. Balling on a budget. Do you want one too? Follow me and lass uns anfangen.
There's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand.
I got those two pieces of cherry lumber that were left from a previous project. Those pieces will be the perfect canvas for my project. For part of this project, I used my CNC machine. However, an angle grinder or sander with a rough grit sanding pad will do as well. And then for the hole, a drill with a hole saw bit will do the trick. All I'm trying to do here is to add some interesting detail to the cutting boards. To cut the outline, you can use a jigsaw. And this shows the pattern that I'm going for. And check out my newest gadget. And that's by far the most annoying part about a CNC machine. So I'm happy. Since I have the two added drawers, I can easily store the bit zero inside one of them. I'm so glad I decided to go with the added drawers. It's so convenient to be able to have a location to store all of those bits and clamps. If you missed the build, I will link the video in the description below. A quick tap on the bit setter and off we go. It's a quick and simple cut, and that's the result. Of course, I recommend using a dust extractor with the machine, but my bin is full and I don't like emptying it. So now I got wood chips everywhere. Once I had the boards cleaned up a bit, I decided to round over the edges, on the top and the bottom. I left the sides square, and then I also rounded over the inside of the hole. I did all that with using my handheld Makita router. And then it was time for a quick sanding job. And like always, let's put on some good music and have fun with it. I sanded a 220 grit and then I used the water method to raise the grain. Once dried, I came back and sanded again with 220 grit to get rid of any raised grain and end up with a super smooth cutting board. As I started on the second design, I noticed that the board was super bowed. Now I could just run it through the planer to straighten it, but that would take off quite a bit of the thickness away, looking at the amount of warping it has. So I decided instead I will just cut the pieces in half on the seam. This should take care of the bowing and make the board straight. So instead I will just have two boards instead of one. Now I don't want to fix the file for the pattern, so I will just cut it, then flip the piece and cut the other side with the same pattern. Then I will split it. While the CNC machine is doing its thing, I want to show you the final design of the colors I made. A walnut live edge with resin and a cherry. I really love the combination of the blue mica powder with the dark walnut. I wish walnut wasn't that expensive. I would make everything out of walnut. Also, I've been working hard on making more of my cedar planter boxes. I upgraded the design with the magnets, so they're coming through from the inside now to hide them. I added resin on top to keep them in place. Now it's optional to use the magnets, which I think it's much better. I also have them in different sizes now. And now let's get back to the CNC cut. One side is done, so we'll just flip the piece 180 degrees and then cut the opposite side. Once done, I will cut it right at the seam. Apparently, I put on my grumpy face and cut the pieces in half, using my table saw. And then I run both of the pieces over the table saw again to make sure the opposite side is parallel. To square off the ends, I used my miter saw. I briefly sanded those pieces to 220 grit as well, and then of course I did a water trick to raise the grain, to end up with an extra smooth board. One of the best moments on a project is when you get to apply water or the finish and you start seeing the grain pattern of the wood. It's just beautiful to look at. Once all this was finished, I took the pieces to my craft studio to work on the wood burning part. To be honest, this is my first time I used a machine like that. I found it on Amazon, but there was a great sale on it and it got super high in temperature, so I picked this model. I did not know that the ends will light up like a glow stick. I might have just set the temperature too high, so I took it down to just below 600 for now. I have no idea how to use it, so let's use it together for the first time. You're supposed to do this? I don't know. At this point, I thought it would have been better to do this outside. Not just for the smoke, but I just don't want to set the house on fire. But then again, it's 109 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so I think I just have to be more careful. And I took the temperature down for another 100 degrees for now. And this seemed to do the trick. I was a bit surprised on how long it took me to finish, but it's done now. I think I will look for a larger attachment, so I can burn more area faster. This is the pattern. I sanded off this little burnt area on top and then I soaked it in my liquid hydration food safe finish. After all, it's a cutting board, so using a food safe finish is very important. After it's soaked in all the oil at once, I finished it with a thin layer of Moose Mogus wood butter for a silky smooth food-safe finish that will help keep the board in shape for a very long time. Ooh, look at that smooth satin finish. Just perfect. I'll let that dry and then we are fertig. Wow, another great project in the books. What do you think? Do you like the outcome? Please like, comment and subscribe. If you haven't done so, please click the bell button to get notified of new videos. If you can, please join my other socials. The link is in the description below. This helps me create more YouTube videos. Thank you so much for your continuous support. What do you think about this style of cutting board? Would it sell online or in farmers market? What would you change about them? I think they would be great as a charcuterie board as well, or as a centerpiece on a table with a candle on it. I did not come up with this style of cutting boards. I've seen others do similar online and that got my creativity going. I wanted to try it out myself. See you soon. Tschüss und auf Wiedersehen.